Well, the first thing I think I'd be remiss in not pointing out the significance of today. We have 4 football players who will be going through a graduation ceremony in an hour and a half. 4 football players who have achieved the pinnacle of what we expect of all of our student athletes. They'll be leaving with one of the most prestigious degrees in the country while wearing championship jewelry. And as Michael said, that's why I got to be leaving here in a little bit, so I apologize for that. Transition, first of all, I want to thank Coach Guidry for his willingness to take on a leadership role here. He's just the perfect guy at this point in time. If you could have seen him with the team yesterday morning in his first meeting, I know I was ready to put a helmet on and play. He was excited. He's very competitive. The players have a great deal of respect for him, and our coaching staff will do a great job. I want to thank Coach Haywood. He has elevated this program in a very short period of time. If you had told me 2 years ago that we'll give you a guy for only 2 years, but he's going to give you your 3rd championship since 1980, and he's going to send you to your 4th bowl in the last 30 years, we would have taken that and run with it. And he's established a foundation for the next guy to come in and really elevate this program. The future is very bright for Miami football. We have some very talented student athletes here who are scholars, and there's some great leadership combined within the group, and we're pumped up about the future. And with that, I'll take your questions.
Ray, as far as the next full-time head coach, is there a criteria like, the current head coach somewhere, coordinator on up, or what you have I'm sure you do, but I don't know what you can share with us.
Well, this is what we do. We do a real in-depth analysis of the current context. It includes feedback from coaches, outgoing coaches, the current students on the team, and we want to understand exactly the type of characteristics, traits, skill sets, experiences, mentoring that is needed to meet the needs of the program at this point in time. 2 years ago, we interviewed 9 people. 5 of those people are now head coaches. Of those 9 people, and they all did a magnificent job, I think all of them someday will be a head coach, but only 3 really fit the context that Miami football needed at the time, based on the profile we developed. And Michael clearly emerged as the best fit for that point in time. This is a different point in time, and so the context changes a little bit. And so the combination of characteristics that you're describing is evolved to wherever we are right now. And we're going to meet that. I'm sorry this is such a long answer, but we're going to try and match the qualifications of the candidates to that context.
So I guess, would you like to have at least a current coordinator or a current head coach?
Yeah, I don't know that I would back myself into a corner and say they have to have this in their background. Clearly, there are some no-brainers. They have to have some experience working at an institution that takes seriously the intellectual development of their student athletes. They have to have in their background competitive success on the football field. They have to have in their background a recruiting system and a way of approaching recruits to the institution. So there are those kind of fundamental traits, but beyond that, we're really trying to connect the dots between what we need in this program right now and what the candidates might bring to the table.
And what's your timetable?
Yeah, another really good question. I'd like to have someone in place yesterday, but the timetable will be driven by finding the best person. Like I said, I think the foundation is in place for Miami football to be very, very special the next few years. And so time is not going to be restricting us. We'll be very, very deliberate in trying to find the right person.
It's not like one of those by Christmas, by the first of the year type things. So.
No. Obviously, we have a sense of urgency. We're continuing to recruit the students who have given us verbal commitments. Coincidentally, this is an unlimited calling day, so we're trying to take advantage of that. I think the deadline's at midnight tonight. Is that right, Lance? And so the sense of urgency is more driven by the anxiety of the unknown for the current players and staff and the recruits. But we got to be very, very meticulous in identifying the right person.
Well, I wasn't expecting this. I got in off the road. We had a meeting, and I was coming through the hallway, and I was talking on the phone to my wife, and our equipment guy was opening up the door to this office as I was walking through. He said, "Lance, come in here right away." So I came on in here, and Brad Bates was sitting in here, and Jason Leonard, and Coach Haywood, Coach Elias. And they asked me, said, "Well, we got some news for you." I said, "Well, yeah, I heard." They said, "You ain't heard these news. So we want you to be the interim head coach." I said, "Whoa, wow, watch out." And they said, "Do you want it?" And I said, "Well, who's going to be with me?" And they said, "Well, Coach Elias, Coach Haywood will be leaving, but Coach Watts and Coach Bull Reese will still be here along with all the other staff." So I said, "Yeah, I'll go ahead and take it." And that's kind of how that went down. Don't know who decided on that. I guess they did it as a team. And now I'm in this office, and there's way too much space in this office. Had a team meeting that night. Brad Bates addressed the team after we left and told them that was going to be the interim head coach. The next morning we had a meeting with the players and told them. And, of course, they had some players when Coach Haywood left. That was a little, sad, of course, like in any program that's successful and their head coach and their leader's gone. But I think the kids will respond back quick, and it's my job to get them to respond back quick.
Questions?
Would it be fair to say you were flabbergasted when you heard the news? I mean, did you have any idea anything like this was even possible, even remotely possible for you personally?
No. I thought that they would probably ask Coach Watts to be the interim head coach since he's got a lot of experience, just, being in big programs and all the college experience he has. But I think Brad and them decided they needed somebody that could get the kids to rally behind, and I'll get them, rallying. I'll rally the troops. I've been a head coach before. It's been on a high school level. 5A, which is the largest in Louisiana. Here it's different. It's 1A, I think, is the largest. So, been a head coach before. Been a defense coordinator at McNeese for 3 to 4 years. Played for the national championship 1 year. So, I mean, I'm used to making decisions, and think the kids have faith in me. So.
What do you think about making your first trip as a head coach down to your? Now Alabama's not home. I understand that.
No, but it's
not
down.
far from home.
It's down south,
Yeah.
and I'm excited. And have some good food, some food I'm used to eating. So and it's gonna be fun. I just hope we go down there and we play well, and I think we will. We're not gonna take it as just a vacation. The kids know what's at stake. They got a chance to win 10 games, and to go from 11 losses the past year, double digits, to double-digit wins this year if we win would be huge. And the thing I'm going to stress to them is that's their team. It always has been their team. It really has never been our team because they're the ones that got to make the plays on the field. Our job is just to get them in the right place and the techniques and the calls, but they have to make the plays in the game. And the difference between last year and this year is exactly that. They're making plays, whereas last year they didn't. So it's going to be an exciting time.
Lance, what do you think your biggest challenge is in getting them back and refocused, with all of the news and all the change of, losing their head coach? What's your biggest challenge in getting them back?
Well, I think the biggest challenge would be if we didn't have older players, because we're playing a bowl game, and we still have all of our seniors here, and they're playing for something, I don't think it's as hard. Because you got the older kids that can put those arms around the younger kids and kind of bring them through this thing along with the coaches. So I think the biggest challenge probably is the kids that are from down south, and Coach Haywood knew a lot of their parents. But by me being from the south also and recruiting Houston, recruiting Louisiana, kind of bridged that gap. So I think the players are going to be fine. We're going to coach them hard like we always have. Everybody's still intact. So everybody that's been coaching them on a daily basis, offensively, defensively, positions are still here. I'm going to still coach the defensive backs. Of course, Tom Anthony's going to help me. So I'm going to be a head coach that's going to be working. I'm not going to be walking around a lot and observing. I'm going to get after it. I'm a football coach, not a politician by any means. I'm a blue-collar guy, so that's the way I'm going to treat this game. Dicer. Got a report yesterday, and he's getting better. Very doubtful for the game. Of course, he's not going to play quarterback. The thought process was maybe letting him be a holder, but still he has a chance of getting hit. So he's probably doubtful for the game.
What do you know about Middle Tennessee?
Well, I know they're in the Sun Belt Conference. Of course, I know a lot of teams that they play because I was down south at McNeese, so I know they was playing UL Lafayette, UL Monroe, and all those guys. Worked with a guy who was on staff there before. So I know a little bit about the history of them. They're a program that's been up, and then they've kind of gone down, and they're kind of back up again. They're always going to have some talent. This year, watching them on film, the quarterback's an athletic kid. The offensive line do a good job. They're a lot like Missouri as far as the type of scheme they run. They run the zone read. Their quarterback runs the ball more than Missouri does, but it's kind of the same concepts. The passing game kind of comes out of the same deal. They get a lot of spread offense, 2x2, 3x1 sets. Not a lot of different formations, not a lot of empty sets. Always have a running back in the backfield. Throw some screens. To me, they look like a competitive team in the MAC. It look like the other teams that we've been playing, to tell you the truth. I haven't watched them on defense, but from what Coach Watts is telling me is that they're athletic. They're not real big in size, but they run around well, which would create some problems. Feel like they might be able to match up with some of our wide receiver kids, but we'll have a good game plan for them. And we've played some good competition, especially late in the season. We're playing Temple and Northern Illinois, so we got to continue our level of play. We can't stay like we were. We got to continue to get better throughout these weeks and get the kids ready to play the game, and they will be.
The quarterback, Dasher, he's kind of struggled this year after missing the first 4 games of suspension, but he had a really big year last year. Is he the kind of guy you have to kind of keep an eye on, thinking about the possibility that this guy might be able to erupt at any time and have a
Yeah, they're kind of a mix. Their offense is kind of like Missouri's, but their quarterback is kind of like the guy from Cincinnati. He's not, I don't think, as explosive as the kid from Cincinnati, but he is explosive. One of the better quarterbacks we'll play this year for is running the football. Passing, their game's kind of simple. We've seen a lot more complex, but they're very adequate at what they do. So we're going to put together a good game plan. But they do create some problems, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good matchup.
I know Haywood emphasized kind of the run, play, action offense for you guys throughout the season. Are you going to continue kind of the same schemes that you guys have used throughout the year, or are you going to change a few things up against Middle Tennessee?
I think we'll use the same things. We're going to try and run the football and be physical, and that seemed to work at the end of the season. When we really needed to play well, we were able to run the football. And against Temple, we didn't know going in that we'd be able to run the ball that well against them, and we did. So I think the better we run the football, the better we play. The throwing game opens up, and Boucher's done a great job, just a great job of handling everything, and Coach Watts has done a great job with him. So the offense is going to continue to roll like it's been, and like I said, if we're able to run the ball, it open up a lot more things. Defensively, we'll be the same. We're going to look at their formation and plays, and we're going to get the people in the right places, and we'll bring pressure when we need to bring pressure, and we'll play coverage when we need to cover people. So, it's going to be exciting.
Physically, are there any players through this, the extra long period between your last game and the bowl game, do you think will help? Guys like, Ryan Kennedy, who did come back and is playing and now has extra time.
Oh, this is really going to help Ryan because Ryan was kind of rushed back a little bit early for Temple, but he wanted to play, and he didn't play that much at all in Temple. And then the last game, he played a pretty good amount, which was really good to see him out there because I tell you what, when we started the year and he was playing against Florida, he looked like the best player on the field. He really did. And, of course, unfortunately, he got hurt. But the other guys stepped up. around everywhere. And now he's getting back, so he'll be healthier, and that's going to be a good thing. We'll be able to utilize his talents. So he's one guy's going to benefit. And then Wambalumba, he's been hurt with an ankle, and he's a freshman, but early on he was playing real well. So this time is really going to help him also.
Practice schedule's been released, Coach. You'll actually be able to get 3 indoor practices down in Cincinnati. That's got to be a big bonus for you to not have to worry about the weather before you go down there.
Yeah, it's going to be nice being inside, not be out in that cold. The players are going to enjoy that, I know. The kickers might not. They're going to have to go outside and kick on the field because there's no goalposts inside. Also, they didn't put any catwalks, so there's nowhere really to film from in there. So we're going to use some Cajun engineering. We're going to film off of ladders. But we'll make do. We'll film from the back, and we'll be fine. We'll get what we need. And we got plenty of time when we get down there to the bowl game to get some good film, but we'll get the film in that we need.
John, Pete, anything else?
What, can you sort of tell me what your first executive decision was, or first thing you decided as the interim head coach, kind of, or what you were faced with?
It's been going smooth. It really has. The DFO, Lauren Cavalera, she's got everything mapped out, the whole schedule of practices. Daryl's been doing a great job with anything I need, and the secretaries are running. Everything's just running along so smooth because things are established, and we're not going to change anything. A couple things I'm going to change with the kids, and they're going to be very satisfied, but I'll let them know at a later date.
What's just your overall feeling about everything that's happened over the last few days? Are you still kind of trying to digest it, or do you feel pretty comfortable with it by now?
I feel like guys on the team, including myself, I mean, took it pretty hard, but I think now, since time's played a factor, that it's just kind of rolling over. But Coach Haywood, that's a great opportunity for him, so you can't really be mad at him. So not really salty feelings, just feelings that we just got to move on and keep this program going.
Was it more of shock for you guys, or did you guys kind of feel, or did you have kind of inklings that something like this might come along?
I talked to a lot of guys on the team, and personally, I thought it was gonna be after next year because I thought we were gonna finally hit the peak and go ahead and keep climbing. But it just came a little bit early. But we just gotta kind of pick up the fumble and run with it and adjust to it.
Yeah, it came up as a bit of a surprise. After the MAC championship game, people were talking about it, and we watched TV just like everybody else, and there were rumblings everywhere, but we're happy for Coach Haywood, and we're going to keep this thing going.
Sitting right over there, what are your first impressions of Coach Guidry?
It was funny. The first thing he said to us was, I didn't ask for this, so we got a chuckle out of it. But Coach Guidry's been our defensive go-to guy the whole year. He's helped us a lot, especially me and Austin with the defensive line. He's the mastermind of our defense along with Coach Reese. So we're happy for him, and we're excited to play this bowl game.
Coach Guidry, probably one of the smartest coaches I've ever played under, just knowing all types of just little tips on games that'll help us get the edge to win. So him stepping in as a head coach here will help us a lot.
Austin, can you talk a little bit about the way this defense has sort of evolved over the year, and it's kind of reached its peak right now?
It's the offense.
I'm sorry, defense.
But we got a lot of offensive players that they describe our defense as a bunch of goons, and it's like everybody has their own personality on our defense, but it molds well together. So I feed off of Jason, and then vice versa. I'll make a play, and Jason will feed off that energy, and then it strings together, and then guys just start believing, and then we just get rolling, and we just can't be stopped until the game's over. And that's the difference between this year and last year. We matured because we had a lot of freshmen last year, but we have playmakers and game changers on our defense now, which it speaks volume about how well we play together.
Yeah, just going off that, getting Ryan back was huge because I think personally Ryan's the best player on our defense. So having him back, having our defense healthy, we're rested. It's just exciting because when the energy is flowing like the Temple game, the Northern Illinois game, I feel like we can't be stopped.
It's been quite a different time. I mean, you look back at games like the Missouri game, the UC game, and it's kind of hard to think of the same defense at the beginning of that game. Was it a matter of just being really banged up and just kind of being having the game sort of get away early in that game, in those games?
You know what? I think we, as the season went on, we really got our confidence. We started trusting each other. The coaches always talk about trust. Trust yourself and trust your brother. So in those games, I mean, those were great teams. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like if we played them again, it'd be a different situation.
Just to pay back on Jason, I totally agree. I feel like since we were a young team, or since we are such a young team, that this season has helped us mature, and I think those games help us mature. And I feel like it's a different story if we play them again.